Hi y'all. Welcome back. For those of you who do not know, my name is Nikki and I am the queen of the bounce back. Tonight's video, I'm actually going to dive a little deeper into why I even call myself that or consider myself that. So I was lucky enough to receive not only one, but my first two YouTube comments. Very, very exciting. And they were actually generated just from YouTube, not even, my Facebook friends or anything like that. Hint, hint, Facebook friends. If you could step your support game up, that'd be great. No, actually, genuinely, any support that's ever given, any likes, any comments, shares, I genuinely could not thank you all enough. But, and speaking of support, I don't know if you've noticed this wonderful, phenomenal shirt that I have on, but if you like, please, I suggest you go over and check out So Phenomenal Lifestyle brand. They are phenomenal, to say the least, but they're awesome. And their spring line just dropped today. Already have my eye on what I'm ordering. It's in there. But the shirt, if you can't see it, it says "Be phenomenal or be forgotten." And y'all know how I feel about the word phenomenal. So thank you to them. Love the shirt. Go support, genuinely. But linking back, speaking of support, my very first YouTube commenter, shout out to my new friend and fellow MS warrior, Spencer. Go check him out, Spencer's MS story. He posted a comment to me saying that it was nice to hear my story, it was good to hear me speak, related to this pretty tough stuff. And, he had also mentioned how he was inspired by Selma Blair. And, of course, I was very appreciative and replied. I went and I checked out his channel. And in watching his latest video that he just posted, he said two things in particular that really resonated with me, or rather on two different occasions in the video. He touched on the fact that when he watches other people's stories, and you can, knowledge, I'm all for educating yourselves, please, YouTube, MS or MS stories, the more knowledge, the better, the more awareness we could spread. So again, share, like, comment, educate yourselves. It's the best thing we can do. But anyway, so in going back and watching his video, he had mentioned it's hard sometimes to watch others' videos because whereas you could be, worse off than someone, it could be, it could always be worse. Someone else could be looking at you and saying that. So in watching people who may, physically deal with things that I may portray as worse, it makes you feel bad. It does. You kind of are like, look, you should count your blessings, and I do very much so. And I'm very grateful for the life that I was afforded and for the advances that I've been able to make throughout these last 13 years. I thank God every day for that, truly. But, in watching someone else struggle with that as well, it helped to not know that, you're not alone. That's always nice to know. But not only that, but what really sparked really the concept of this video is he was reminiscing with his wife, I believe, and talking about old episodes that he had. And he had mentioned having a patch over his eye at one time, and brought me back and reminded me of my bout with optic neuritis. His wife had mentioned a time where there was 3 months where they couldn't hug because his skin was so sensitive. And I've been there, not to that extent, and I'm grateful for that, and I am inspired by his story so much, as well as Melissa's. And but you know, it brought me back to especially the first time that this happened, when I was so sensitive to the touch that you couldn't blow on my skin, you couldn't put a sheet over it. And in my particular case, my paralyzation is hypersensitivity. It's not a lack of feeling, it's the feeling of too much. You feel everything, and you know, my nerves being raw, that's more into, you know, neurological aspect and central nervous system aspect of the disease, but it's intense and it's painful, and you know, I can't imagine not being able to hug someone I love for 3 months. But then again, I never could have imagined that there would be any time in my life that I would not be able to walk or talk or see. And in watching that video, it really brought me back to some things that I think I kind of repressed a little, and that's just survival mode. Because in thinking back to a time when I was blind in my right eye, I woke up not knowing, and this was before I even had my diagnosis of MS. Quick sidebar, so I know I had mentioned in a previous video number 2, about my yoga trapeze. I am swinging from it now because I think this was my attempt at bringing a fun or a playfulness to this video, which I know is going to be hard and emotional to say, as well as I would imagine to watch. So the inner child in me felt like, hey, let's, you know, show the yoga trapeze and also let your inner child run free as you hark down memory lane. But anyway, you know, remembering things that you don't remember often. Yes, I'm in pain every day. Yes, there are things I deal with every day. But it's the moment that I was at my worst. The moments where I was immobile, that I could not walk, I could not raise my legs, I could not bend my arm, I could not move my fingers. I was blind in one eye for a period of time, not knowing. And again, please don't get me wrong, I am so absolutely grateful and feel blessed that I am no longer. I struggle obviously on and off with vision problems, but again, it could be so worse. So that just helps me sympathize with someone who can't see at all. It's amazing. It really could always be worse, but I think there's something in recognizing the worst of what you've been through as well. And as long as you're not, you know, harping on it as a negative, and it might be emotional and it's hard again, but it's important to remember just how far you've come. And especially for me, you know, at 17, I was told I wasn't gonna walk again. Yeah, right. Took me a couple months, but proved it. Was in a regular hospital for, you know, months. Was then in an inpatient rehabilitation hospital for another additional month. From 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, I was in every therapy you can imagine. Occupational, physical, aquatic, recreational, musical. That was my life. It was dedicated to walking again, and I did. And then a couple years later, I relapsed again. And I could remember being scared, like, is this the time? Okay, maybe the first time was a fluke, and what are the chances of coming back from this again? Well, they're pretty good because I did. And, in between that, again, still at this point, not knowing I had MS. This 6 almost 7 years into it, I still didn't know I had MS. So the diagnosis came after 3 major spinal surgeries and a minor one. A neurostimulator implantation. I literally had a battery pack implanted in me and I had remote control. Like, it's incredible really thinking back to that. And here I am, and I was strong enough to, maybe guess, no, I'm not strong enough to use this trapeze right now, but I was strong enough to pull myself in here and sit and swing. I'm out of bed. That's incredible. Incredible for me, at the very least. So remembering all the countless injections, all the scans I had to see, all the what ifs, and the hours, days, weeks, months, years I spent not knowing and literally in the unknown. How much stress and anxiety it caused, the pain it caused the people around me, the fears that come along with it and will be forever. And then, finally getting the MS diagnosis and thinking, but I'm young. Isn't this something that, am I going to end up in a wheelchair, and am I going to this, and there was just so much that went into it. And then I fought to get myself in remission afterwards. I actually moved myself across country because I knew the climate was so important. And I changed my diet and changed my lifestyle and swam every day, which is I will praise that forever and always. Aquatic therapy is my go-to and my ultimate fixer. I put all that into it, and I saw myself get into remission, and then I go and relapse again. And when I'm in my dream job, I have my dream job. I'm helping children, and I'm a youth development specialist. And I thought I was where I was supposed to be, and life very quickly reminded me that I don't know a thing, or at least not even close to what I think I know. Who am I? I'm only human. But, having to fall back and again learn how to walk. The third time I went paralyzed, it was from the neck down, only on my right side. I had to deal with, oh my goodness, it spread to my arms. Now what? That was my only strength. What am I going to do without upper body strength? And that fear. And, the years in between, and the doctor's appointments, and the tests, and the scans, and I did that. I went through that. And sometimes, whether subconsciously or very consciously, you almost have to look at your story from the outside, as if you're looking at someone else's, because sometimes it is too sad and scary and really terrifying to bring yourself back to think of how many times, at least me personally, I truly felt like I was on the verge of death. Brain swelling. Literally felt my brain swelling, leaking brain fluid for 8 months and not knowing. Having to wear sunglasses around the house at all times because I couldn't open my eyes. I was so light sensitive. But this is why I consider myself the queen of the bounce back. Because there's nothing yet that I have not been able to bounce back from. And there is truly nothing that will ever stop me from bouncing back and being a better person than I was the day before, because this will in no way, I refuse to let this harden me. I will be sunshine and rainbows for as long as I can. And on my worst days, I will go from Harvard to Hood real quick and get really, really upset and probably say a few choice words that I probably should not and feel sorry for myself. And yes, I will have those days, but I will feel blessed nonetheless, because again, it could always be worse. And it is. And it has been for me. But it's not. Not right now. I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of everyone who is getting up every day. You're doing it. Life is not easy, no matter what you're going through, whether you have an illness or not. And trust me, this is only the beginning. This is only part of my story. Y'all don't even know what you're in for. But again, in closing, I am going to say, I'm grateful for my resilience. I am thankful that I could reach anyone, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere in the world. I am humbled and grateful for you sticking with me, and hope that you continue. I pray that you're kind. And again, you know what my saying is, in a world where you can choose to be anything, choose to be kind. And as always, keep on fighting, because you know I will.